What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Up the Holler. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be working on this grocery getter right behind us. It's the wife's vehicle, and I'll show you what we got to do to it. For those of you that have been following along with the channel, you're probably familiar with seeing this van. It's made its appearance one time before because it broke down on us when we was on vacation this year. The transmission went out on it. So you guys I can link that video in the description. You guys can check that out. See what all went down with that, having to tow it back to West Virginia and everything. But today, that's not what the issue is. Transmission has been replaced, and it seems to be doing pretty good so far. But today's video is going to be replacing the thermostat housing. Thermostat and the housing, it's together as one unit on this little 3.6 liter Chrysler. Never done this before, but it's kind of hard to see. It's right down in there. That's the top of it right there. But this has had the check engine light's been on for a couple months now, and I finally took it and had the code read, and it comes back as a thermostat malfunction. Now, it like I said, check engine light's on. It hasn't seemed to overheat or anything, but if you do stop in traffic, or like this morning we were sitting in the parking lot at church with it running, I did notice the temperature gauge did come up to about halfway, which according to the digital readout was about 215 degrees, was as hot as it got, which, you know, I picked the part up from Napa. I'll give you the part number, show you what it looks like, because this is evidently a pretty common thing. Not just on this van, but this engine's used in a lot of Chrysler vehicles. So I figured I'd just try to make a DIY video on doing this. Because I would say to take this to a shop and have it done, you know, you probably have a few $100s wrapped up in doing this. And I'm going to show you how to do it in your own garage with just some basic hand tools. Okay. There's the Napa part number for it. HT 203-806 thermostat with housing. I'll show you what it looks like. The thermostat and housing all together, one unit. So it should be pretty straightforward. I mean, 2 bolts hold it on and 1 hose clamp. Really, the biggest thing here we're going to be doing is we're going to pull this air cleaner box out, probably take this brake fluid reservoir loose, just so we can have better access to get in there to it. So let me set the camera up and we'll start disassembly. Okay, we're going to start by popping the air filter loose. Get that out of the way. And I'm going to pull this loose. We need to take it loose back there. So we pull that whole top piece out. So all of them is just loosen that hose clamp right there. Just pulled the whole thing off. Get a light here. You got this wiring harness actually hooks on the side of the bottom of the air cleaner box. So let me go grab my tool where I can pop that loose, And we'll take this loose, and then it looks like it just pulls straight up out of there. So give me 1 second to go grab my pulling tool. Okay, I'm gonna try to show you everything that's gonna happen here, because you know, one thing is setting the camera up over on the stand, some of the stuff you won't be able to see, but in case somebody's ever going to use this video to do this job with, I'll show you what we got. Let's get that light to stand up there. Okay, right here, we're gonna pop that loose. Okay, we get that one loose, and like I said, this nut here we're going to take loose to just so we can kind of slide this reservoir and move it either way we need to go. We're not going to hook any lines on the power steering. You definitely don't want to do that, because that'll mess the whole system up. And then down inside here, right there, straight in the bottom where that little drain hole is, that appears to just be like a push-in retainer. So you should just pull it straight up, and pull this whole thing straight up, and it should pop out. So I'm gonna set the camera back up and try to get some of this pop back loose, or get it loose. This right here should just get it worked under there. Just work that back there, see there? That's all it takes to get that loose. So that's loose, and this bolt right here, see if I need one of them big bars that goes across the hood that lights everything up. That would be great. Okay, so this bolt is or nut rather, is a 13mm. We'll just pop that baby loose. And this should just lift right up off there. So now we can kind of be able to move that out of our way. Get that one popped loose, and then make sure ain't nothing else hooked to it. Okay, it's just a matter of working it up off the air duct that's down in behind the fender. Yeah, there it comes. So now that comes out. Okay, should be able to get to it now, it looks like. Let me show you what we got so far. And that's it right there. What you're looking at, the big hose and the big silver hose clamp on it. That's what we're going to change, that black part. I'm going to try to get this camera set up where you can see this, but I don't know how well it's going to work out. Even after moving all that stuff, you know, it frees up some space where you can get to it, but to try to get a camera in here and everything, it's going to be kind of tough. So first thing is going to be popping the hose loose, and we're going to probably lose a bunch of antifreeze and stuff like that. I don't have any hose clamps or hose pliers to clamp the hose off with, so we just have to go with it. Kind of do this one-handed now, just so you guys can see. I know I like to see the nitty-gritty part where it's actually the bolt coming out and the part coming off the motor. Set this here. And there it is. We'll check that thing out here in a minute. I don't know what could be wrong with it other than the spring get weak or broke or something like that, but it doesn't appear to be broken. All right, let's clean it up and put the new one on. Okay, new one's on. Just got to hook the hose up and put everything else back. And I apologize, I absolutely could not get a camera in there for you to see what I had to do anyway. So, but those bolts are 10mm. So I used a 3/8 drive ratchet with an adapter to 1/4 inch on a 10mm socket. That worked perfect. Get right in there and get them out. No big deal. Clean the O-ring mating surface up and slap a new one on. Now we just gotta stick the hose back on it and put the hose clamp back on. I was able to get the hose turned up here so before we dumped a bunch out of the hose, but we still end up having quite a bit come out of the housing itself onto the ground. So I had to run and go get a pan for that. You can see that thing has a stop right there. That's how far up you need to put the hose, right there. Now I get that hose clamp worked back up there. One other thing I'm gonna do, since we lost antifreeze, went all over them pulleys and stuff like that, I'm just gonna spray a little bit of degreaser on that. And after I get this back together, I'll pull it out and hose it off, just to get all that stuff off there, and that way you don't have to smell antifreeze when the engine starts getting hot. Yeah. Okay, got my degreaser sprayed on. Should just be sticking all this back together and start with the bottom of this box, air cleaner box. I'm actually going, it's got a few little leaves in it I'm going to dump out. Some bugs. It goes like this. You have to feed that little tube up in there. Pre-wheel drops right back in place. You line this push pin up. Be mindful of your washer fluid because it catches on there too and holds it in place. Okay, looks like it's in. You can stick that back on there. Put our nut back on the power steering fluid. I don't know if I called that brake fluid while it's power steering. I might have called it brake fluid a while ago. Don't remember. Okay, I'll stick our wire loom harness connector back in. That back that way. Okay, get this back on now. There's that. That should be your PCV valve back to the intake. Trying to make sure I ain't pinching anything. Okay, looks like that's it. Tighten that hose back up. And that's it. Now we'll go fire this thing up, take it for a drive. Well, first we'll make sure we got plenty of coolant in it. And we'll take it for a drive, see what happens. Okay, we're definitely up to temperature. A couple miles from the house going down the road right now. And we're staying, that's on 204 right now. And yes, there is a tire pressure light on. Pretty sure it's a bad sensor. We're going to check that too when we get back home. But I'm going to run up this hill here and see what happens. Probably ride over to the fire department and stop and kind of check everything. I did fill the reservoir up to make sure it had plenty of coolant in there. But we'll drive over there and check it out and see what it looks like. Okay, I just pulled off the road here at the fire station. So it's on 204 degrees, which as you can see by the analog gauge, it's right on halfway, which I guess is acceptable. To be honest with you, before there was an issue with this, I never really paid a whole lot of attention where that gauge stayed at. But I know it's somewhere in that area. But I was just going to sit still here for a few minutes and see how hot this thing gets sitting here, because it's coming up a little bit. And when I came up the hill, we got a pretty good little hill you got to run up to get up here, probably about a half mile long. You know, I got on it pretty good coming up there, and I seen it jump up to 222 degrees, but just as soon as I topped over it, everything fell back down to about 206. And as I coasted on down this way, it dropped down to 203. But just want to see what it's going to do sitting here. So I'll give it a few minutes and see what happens. Well, guys, I think that's going to wrap this one up. I know it's a little different what I normally do, but that's just one of them projects, you know, you got to get done. And just wanted to throw it on there, you know, something you can do if you just got a few little hand tools yourself. You don't always have to take these things to the shop to get them worked on. But as far as the test run, seemed to do okay. The hottest I seen it get was about 222. That was going up a hill. According to Chrysler's website, anywhere between like, I think it said 180 to 230 degrees is normal. So they said once you start getting around 235, 240, that's when you want to start worrying about it. So we should be good. So give us a thumbs up, hit the like button, and thanks for watching. See you on the next one.